A lot of soloists sound good. Only a few actually sound like themselves. Before K-pop knew what to do with him, Zico was already building. Born Woo Ji-ho in Seoul in 1992, he started making music as a teenager in Hongdae under the name Nogzo, meaning scribble in Korean. He was not training for a debut. He was just rapping because he could not stop.
Also, I'm still fly, I'm sky high,
Underground stages, small venues, self-recorded tracks passed around. The bass was already there before any company stepped in. That changed in 2011 when he debuted as the leader of Block B. Through Block B, he wrote, produced, and shaped the group's sound. At the same time, he built a solo career on the side. Releases and collaborations with underground and mainstream artists. Both worlds, running at once. Seeing that, other artists started coming to him. He wrote and produced hits like Okie Dokie and Sejong's Flower Way. Companies were not guessing. They wanted his sound inside their music. Then in 2018, he made a move that changed his position completely. His contract with 7 seasons ended, and he chose not to renew. Instead, he started his own label, KOZ Entertainment. No one above him, just his direction, his decisions. The first real look at that came in 2019 with Thinking. Split into 2 parts, the album felt more personal. Fully self-produced, more open, less filtered. It was not built around trends. It came from what he actually wanted to say. Then 2020 came. On January 13, he released Any Song. Simple production, simple hook, easy to follow. Within days, a TikTok challenge built around it spread everywhere. Covers, celebrities, non-stop reposts. The song climbed to #1 on the Circle Digital chart and stayed there for 7 weeks. But the bigger impact came after, a simple dance tied to a catchy hook carried by social media. It started showing up everywhere. The dance challenges you see idols doing now, it all started with Zico. That is when the labels started sticking. Hitmaker, producer, the one who knows what works. But the one that stayed was simpler, Zico style. There is a clear sound tied to his name, a mix of hip-hop and pop that feels relaxed and casual without being lazy. It has groove, it hits clean, and it is easy to recognize. By the early 2020s, KOZ Entertainment was acquired by HYBE. He now had both control and scale. He used it to launch Boy Next Door as executive producer while continuing his own work. In 2024, he marked 10 years as a solo artist with Spot, featuring Jenny. A song with clean production, natural chemistry, and a strong hook. It topped multiple Korean charts within hours. It also hit #1 on the Circle Digital chart and Billboard World Digital Songs, and entered the Billboard Global excluding US chart at #8, his first time there. The music video passed 100 million views in just 6 months. People pointed out what made it work. Nothing complicated, not trends, it's just how natural it felt. That kind of style takes time. Zico spent years building a sound that people can recognize in seconds. Kim Hyung-soo started writing lyrics at 15 because she could not say what she wanted out loud. She grew up in Ulsan, then spent her teenage years in Chonwon. No trainee system, no audition plans. Just someone with things she could not express in conversation, so she wrote them down. By her late teens, she had a collection of self-produced songs on SoundCloud. That is where Yoon Mi-rae found her. One of the most respected names in Korean hip-hop and R&B, Yoon Mi-rae heard something different in those tracks. She brought Kim Hyung-so to Feel Good Music, the label she ran with Tiger JK, and signed her in 2017. The name she was already using was BIBI, short for Naked BIBI, pointing to something unfiltered and unguarded. In 2018, she appeared on the SBS competition show, The Fan.
Oh gosh, 난리야. 맞아, 난 좀 기분 파. 금방 또 사랑에 빠져.
She finished as runner-up. The show gave her exposure, but more importantly, it showed what she had. A voice sitting between R&B and hip-hop, lyrics that felt personal without trying too hard, a presence that did not follow the usual idol setup. Then, she officially debuted on the 15th of May 2019 with BINU. From the start, her music moved freely. R&B next to hip-hop, soul next to pop, ballad textures showing up out of nowhere. The genres kept shifting, but the voice stayed the same. That became the pattern. No clean category, but still easy to recognize. People kept trying to label it and kept running into the same problem. She did not fit into one box. Not just R&B, not just rap, not just pop. It all somehow mixed and came through her voice. In 2021, attention started growing outside Korea. She released The Weekend with 88 Rising.
You only call me on the weekend.
The song reached number 29 on the media-based Top 40 chart in the United States, making her the first Korean female soloist to reach that high. It did not feel forced. People were just finding the song and sticking with it. By the end of that year, she signed a global promotion deal with 88 Rising. In November 2022, she released her first full album, Low Life Princess Noir. This was the clearest look at her style. Raw on one side, layered on the other. Love, rebellion, power, all of it without being softened. It was not trying to reach everyone. It stayed true to what she wanted to make. Then February 2024 shifted everything. Bam Yang dropped on Valentine's Day, a song built around chestnut jelly. Simple rhythm, almost old school, sitting next to a chart full of heavy production. It felt light, a bit playful, and easy to repeat. Within days, people were posting themselves singing it while eating the dessert. Even artists followed. The song went to number 1 on the Circle Digital chart, her first. It also secured a real-time all-kill. Even outside music, the impact showed. Sales of chestnut jelly in Korea went up by 40%. But what stood out was the range. 2 years earlier, she had Low Life Princess Noir, dark and heavy. Now she had the biggest song in the country built around a traditional dessert. That kind of range is rare. Bam Yang showed something clearly. She could make a song that did not sound like anything else on the charts and still turn it into the most played track in the country. In May 2025, she released her second album, Eve Romance, and started her first world tour, Eve. It began in Seoul and expanded across North America, Asia, and Australia with 23 stops. It was a long way from those early SoundCloud uploads, and it still sounded like her. Some soloists take time to figure out their direction. Yena stepped into hers pretty quickly. She trained for years before joining Produce 48 in 2018 under UA Entertainment.
4등을 차지한 연습생을 발표하도록 하겠습니다. 4등 연습생입니다. 위에와 최예나 연습생.
She ranked 4th and debuted in Eyes 1. For 2.5 years, she was part of one of the biggest project groups in K-pop. Then in April 2021, the group disbanded, and she had to figure things out on her own. The next few months said a lot. She did not step back. She showed up everywhere. Variety shows, hosting, acting. She leaned into it naturally. High energy, quick reactions, easy to watch. The kind of presence that lifts the room without trying too hard. On the 17th of January 2022, she made her solo debut with Smiley. The direction was clear right away. Pop with rock edges, loud, playful, a bit chaotic. It felt like her personality driving the music, not the other way around.
예나 축하드립니다.
She won her first music show on M Countdown less than a month later. After that, the releases kept building on the same lane. Smartphone in August 2022, Love War in January 2023, Hate Rodrigo in June 2023, which got people talking and leaned further into that pop rock energy. Good Morning in January 2024, Nemo Nemo in September 2024, later listed by NME among the best K-pop songs of the year. The sounds stayed consistent. Pop mixed with rock. Bright, slightly chaotic, but still controlled. The songs change, but the feeling stays the same. And that is harder than it looks. A lot of soloists coming out of groups get their direction decided for them. Image, genre, tone. In Yena's case, it feels like it comes from her. The pop rock style she leans into just feels like her usual self. In May 2025, BTS Jin released his album Echo and featured her on the track Loser. She performed it with him at his solo fan concert in Korea in June. The collaboration brought her to a wider audience, but more importantly, her sound fit without needing to adjust. The track needed that pop-punk energy with a lively edge, and she already had it. That is the key. When a song needs that kind of tone, her name always comes up. Blooming Wings followed in July 2025, along with a collaboration with Hatsune Miku later that year. In March 2026, she released her 5th mini-album Love Catcher, continuing the run she started with Smiley. She held her first solo concert in 2025. The crowd showed up for a specific reason. The music, the energy, the way it feels to watch her perform. Not because of a group name, because of the sound she brings. A lot of former project group members struggle to keep the same pace after disbandment. The fan base splits and everything resets. Yena did not just carry on. She built something that stands on its own. WOODZ did not take a straight path to get here. He was born in Songnam in 1996. In his final year of elementary school, he moved to Brazil and trained as a footballer under Corinthians' junior system. He even went by the name Luizinho. At that point, football was the plan. Then things shifted. He started watching Korean music shows while living abroad. He later moved to the Philippines to study English and began auditioning for Korean companies. Dozens of auditions on each trip back. Eventually, he passed one over the phone while still in Manila. He debuted in 2014 as the main rapper of Unique under Yuehua Entertainment. The group gained momentum early, then everything stopped. Political tensions between China and South Korea put Unique on indefinite hiatus in 2018. So he adjusted. He turned to solo work, changing his name from Louise to WOODZ. The music changed with it. Less focused on rap, more on vocals. moving through alternative R&B, then into pop rock. The emotions became clearer. The direction became more defined. In 2019, he joined Produce X101. He finished 5th and debuted in X1. Then it happened again. In January 2020, X1 disbanded after the vote manipulation controversy. Less than 5 months after debut, the group was gone. So he went back to himself. What followed was his most consistent run, starting with Equal in 2020. Then, Set, Only Lovers Left, Colorful Trauma, and Uli. He wrote everything, produced almost everything. Each release added to the same identity. By this point, the sound was easy to recognize. Somewhere between alternative R&B and indie rock. Emotional, but not heavy-handed. Strong melodies, but never predictable. You could play a track and know it was him. In October 2022, he left Yue Hua and signed with EDOM Entertainment, home to IU. It showed where he stood in the industry. In 2023, he announced his first world tour for Uli, which Billboard later ranked among the best K-pop albums of the year. The tour covered 12 countries across multiple continents. Over 52,000 people attended. No heavy push behind it. People found the music and stayed. Then in January 2024, he enlisted. And then something unexpected happened. Drowning, a track from 2023 Uli album, started picking up again. A clip of him performing it in military uniform spread online. People who had never heard of him found the song and kept listening. It re-entered the charts. Then, it kept climbing. By 2025, it was competing with major comeback releases, and it was beating them. By the end of the year, Drowning was #1 on both Melon and Circle's year-end charts. A 2-year-old song. No promotions. All while he was in the military. That is not how it usually works. He was discharged in July 2025. His return concert at Jamsil Arena sold out. In March 2026, he released Archive 1, his first full-length album. 17 tracks, all written, composed, and produced by him with his team. No features. Every track entered the Melon chart on release. The tour that followed was bigger. Sold-out shows across Asia and Europe. Full live band setup, WOODZ on guitar, leading crowds that knew every word.
Oi! Oi!
Archive 1 fits where he is now. A record of everything he built over time. 2 groups that ended early. Years of steady work. A sound that reached #1 even when he was not around to promote it. At this point, it is simple. Everything WOODZ spent 12 years building now has his name on it. 4 soloists. 4 ways of doing things differently. Zico built his sound on his own ideas and stuck with it. BIBI brought her raw and bedroom style into the mainstream without changing it. Yena made music that feels exactly like her personality. WOODZ built a catalog so specific it kept growing even when he stepped away. None of them sound alike, and none of them follow the usual path. But they all show the same thing. A real sound does not come from a company plan. It comes from doing your own thing long enough that people can hear you in it instantly. K-pop has a lot of soloists. But these four have a sound.